Welcome back. Today is National Autism Awareness Day, and there's sobering a new report from the CDC. 1 in 88 kids are now being diagnosed with autism. That's nearly twice as many just 5 years ago.
But our next guest says autism can be reversed.
It's all in her brand new book, The Autism Revolution, Whole Body Solutions for Making Life All It Can Be. Dr. Martha Herbert is here. Dr. Martha, what do you mean reversed?
Well, people with autism get better. Some of them get somewhat better, and some of them actually lose their diagnosis. So I think that we need to stop thinking about it as a life sentence and think about it as something that we can work on.
So a lot has been said about nutrition, that if you change the diet of some young children, that some will be amenable to change, but not all. What other factors do you point to?
Diet's big because it triggers the immune system and also because it supplies the ingredients for our cells so our cells can do the best possible job. I'm also concerned with toxics. We have a lot of everyday toxic exposures we don't think about. Our household products. Living near a freeway has been shown to increase your risk for autism. So reducing as much as you can toxic exposures is another thing.
Mm-hmm. One of the things you say is you need to calm the brain chaos.
Right. Well,
it's a normal brain, but there's chaos.
The brain is not malformed. The brain is irritated. Mm-hmm. So you need to reduce the irritation and the inflammation in the brain.
How?
I'm not talking about drugs. I'm talking about the same kind of anti-inflammation diet people have read about. Absolutely outstanding high nutrient density food, fruits and vegetables. Lots and lots of the rainbow diet, every color of the rainbow in your daily diet. That's going to give the body the ingredients it needs to start fixing things.
What about vaccines? Earlier on the program we had Donald Trump. He's a big believer in the fact that vaccines may have led to this, especially when they were laden with mercury back 8 years and beyond. What do you think about that?
Well, my concern is that it's got to be bigger than that because there are people who have not been vaccinated who develop autism. So what I'm concerned about is the vulnerability of body and brain, particularly the immune system, and what we can do to shore it up so it's not so vulnerable.
And just to go through some of the tips, go for the extraordinary, you say. People with autism are capable of astounding things.
Right. We have been learning that there's far fewer people with autism who are mentally retarded, and some people are remarkably brilliant. We just haven't been testing them right. So look at your child. Think of your child as being in there, as in understanding, even if they can't express themselves, and expand their world and give them the opportunity to grow and develop their interest.
We are here with Dr. Martha Herbert. She has written a new book, The Autism Revolution, Whole Body Solutions for Making Life All It Can Be. You are assistant professor of neurology at Harvard Medical School and a pediatric neurologist. Right. So you would know a thing or two about this. How long have you been studying autism?
16 years.
16 years. What has changed the most in your approach?
When I started, I was looking for rare genetic contributors to autism, and within a few years I figured out that they were hardly ever there, and that people were sick in many commonplace ways. And so I've evolved from that into taking the whole body of the person with autism seriously as something we have to take care of. I can't just turf that to other people. I have to look for the whole health of the person. And not just being okay, but being really healthy.
We don't know what causes it.
We don't know. I don't think there's going to be any one specific thing that causes autism. I think it's going to be an overload of many things that swamp out our body's ability to take care of itself.
And that's the key right there. And one of your premises is that there's so much going on in the environment of the mother, of the child with autism. If you can remove certain parts of the exposure to the environment, it is actually possible to reverse autism.
In partnership with building up the support for the resiliency and the robustness, the health of the system. You take away the problems and you add the supports.
So
it's a really important foundation.
Talk about the food, because it's referred to as the gut with autism, kids who have autism. And in many cases, I don't know what percentage it is, but with other physicians, maybe, is it 20% or higher that you can actually reverse just by simply changing the diet?
Well, we don't really have good statistics on what there are about 20% of kids who lose their diagnoses, depending on how you look at it. Not a lot of studies yet. But the fact that we have any of that means that we should be looking at this as something that can change. There are also kids who get better for a few days while they have a fever. They start being much more personable. They talk. And then it goes away. Well, we don't know, but that's an incredible clue that we're dealing with something up here that's gumming up the works, but that's not necessarily hardwired, that it's changeable.
And I understand you feel that when you look at the brain itself, the brain looks normal, but it's just the way things are being processed.
Yeah, and the chemistry and the a lot of immune chemicals are going in there and getting everything all agitated, and we need to chill those out.
Okay, so why do so many parents report that this happens right around the age of 2, that they have what's deemed as a normal child, and then all of a sudden they go into sort of this catatonic state, and many of them relate it to the timing of the vaccinations?
Oh, that's right. Well, first of all, the time between 1 and 2, the brain has the highest amount of what you call excitatory chemicals. It's part of brain development. So anything that comes along that makes it even more overexcited may overload the brain, and then you can fall into this regression into autism, and what you said. So there are people who have this phenomenon after a vaccine. There are people who have it after head trauma. There are people who have it after bad viral infections, and also for no apparent reason. So there's something particularly vulnerable during that period of time.
Okay, so up to the age of 2, as a parent, what should you be doing with your child?
I think you need to go for a lot more wellness. One of the things I talk about in my book is the gray zone, where they tell you things are okay, but actually they're just not really bad, but they're not really good either. So many kids have recurrent ear infections. They can't sleep. They have colic. And you should do whatever you can to overcome those. It's not something just to tolerate.
So as soon as your kid gets sick, take him to the doctor, see what's the matter.
Well, yeah, but the problem is that many doctors think that because on average children have colic, then that's okay. But
They say let it ride. It'll play its weight.
If you're breastfeeding, take out the common allergens from your diet so they don't go into your child. Wheat, dairy, peanuts, corn, soy, chicken. Eat a lot more fruits and vegetables. I mean, I have a friend whose 4-month-old got a seafood allergy because of her breast milk. So avoid allergens in your diet when you're breastfeeding, and while you're pregnant as well. Watch out for the exposures that you're giving your child. Watch out for the cleaning products that you have. Watch out for, don't remodel your house while you're pregnant because you put all kinds of dusts and chemicals in the air. People don't think of it. They get married, they get a house. It's not the time to do that.
Dr. Herbert, people have been remodeling their homes while they're pregnant for decades.
That's right.
And they've been, near, I don't know, gas tanks on cars. And so I'm trying to figure out in my mind why the high prevalence now in 2012.
Right. So again, there's 2 reasons, and one of them is obviously to some degree we're noticing because there's more people, we notice it more, we count more. There's some of the exposures in our environment we've gotten rid of, but there's others that are new, and there may be things that we need to identify. People talk about electromagnetic frequencies, about other things that are new, about nanoparticles. We don't really track them. The way we track chemicals doesn't, on the animal models, they don't take it out far enough to see whether it affects behavior. So a lot of what we're doing, we really have no way of knowing.
Can you evoke autism in an animal?
Well, they have a lot of animal models of autism, both genetic ones and environmental ones. You can trigger inflammation in an animal and study its behavior. You can put in a gene mutation. Obviously, they can't talk, and
Sure.
so but they will avoid other animals. They'll flip around in circles over and over again. They'll engage in some of the repetitive.
It manifests itself in a different way.
Yeah.
It's provocative. There are so many families who are impacted by it. I'm sure they're going to want to check out your book. It's called The Autism Revolution. Dr. Martha Herbert, we thank you very much for joining us live.
My pleasure.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Sure.